What's going on, guys? My name is Cody and I'm a graphic designer based out of San Diego. If you're new to this channel, welcome. Check out some of my older videos on my tutorials. I'll link those up here, I think. There should be like a little card up there. If you're not new, but you've kind of been around a little bit, thanks for coming by again, you know? So I've been getting a lot of comments from you guys that you'd like to see more sketch videos. This is pretty common. I feel like for some reason, the sketch videos are what people want to see. And you know, I respect that. You know, I think I enjoy Sketch a lot, and I think it's a fun software, and it's exciting to build in. So today we're actually going to go into Sketch, and I'm going to show you guys the new prototyping feature that Sketch just released not too long ago. Now, this is something that already existed. InVision and Craft was sort of the integration that Sketch used before, but now I think they're kind of taking on that responsibility themselves and are building a feature that can be scaled upon. So right now, the feature's sort of lightweight in that you can only link to different artboards and add transitions between those artboards, which is still pretty cool because it allows you to kind of fluidly navigate through your app. So you can sync it to the cloud on your phone and click on a button and be taken to the next page. So this is very helpful to sort of, in a way, like visually represent how the app would work. But you can't, as of now, and I know Sketch is thinking about this, but you can't, as of now, animate just particular elements. So say you wanted like a drawer to slide out and be independent of the background, can't do it quite yet. But I know Sketch is probably thinking about this and they just want to get the first version out so that they get it in people's hands, get some feedback. It's a really smart way to build, in my opinion, because it'll allow you to sort of work out any of the bugs or kinks that you run into. So I think the main things I really want to show you guys in this tutorial is, number one, how to design a good looking app that is optimized for mobile. Number two, setting up your documents so that it's clean and you're able to navigate through your layers so that when you've got multiple artboards, you're not confused as to what you've designed. Number three, linking together your artboards with this prototyping feature. All right, so I've got Sketch open here and I'm gonna go ahead and insert a new artboard. And we're gonna go to iPhone 10 because that's the most recent iPhone, or iPhone X if you know it that way. And then we're just gonna insert our iOS UI design and we're gonna add our iPhone X frame. This sort of just helps you to understand where your workable screen area is. So I actually have some other tutorials on just iPhone 10 design in general, so you can check those out as well. Now we'll go ahead and insert our iOS UI design status bar, just so we can see where that would live. Cool. Now we more or less have our artboard. So I believe in the intro I said that we were going to design an app. I think I misspoke. We're actually just going to design a mobile e-commerce website. So in that case, we need to have like a search bar up here so that it actually appears as if we were on Safari and we opened up this website. So we want to account for that that space. So luckily, Sketch has this kind of integrated within their iOS UI design dropdown. So if you go to iOS UI design, you can go to bars. You've got a search bar. Let's just put in a non-active one. And then just kind of line this up. See, it kind of snaps to that top part. And then one thing we want to make sure we add too is that I noticed that when you actually are on your mobile browser, there's like a little div line right here. So let's just go ahead and add one of those. I'm just gonna go to Insert Shape, Line, and just draw this across. And I'm holding Shift as I do this to make it straight. And I'm just gonna go really light on the color here. Okay, so since we're doing a mobile e-commerce website, I decided to revive one of my older designs. I did a tutorial back, I don't know, maybe 6-7 months ago, where I mocked up a, essentially it was just like a coffee label for a fictitious brand that I called Muir Woods Coffee Co. I had just gone to Muir Woods, got inspired, and decided to make just a clean and minimal, product label that I thought would be neat. So we'll pretend that this is an actual coffee company and that we're making their mobile e-commerce experience. So I'm gonna go ahead and just drag this in so I have it. We're not gonna use it quite now, but I'll size it down and just kind of put it here on the side. But what I am going to do in the meantime is drag in my logo that I made. Here's my logo. And you can literally just drag items into Sketch like this. And this is a PNG, so it's got a transparent background. I recommend you use either SVGs or PNGs that are at a good size so you could scale them down. And I'm just holding Shift as I scale this down. So I sort of want a header on my mobile site just to be kind of centered here. I laid out my product to be very centered in the actual packaging, so I feel like there'd be some good continuity if I kept everything centered for the most part on this design. So now that we've got our logo in here, I actually want to make sort of like a tag or sort of like a rectangle container that it can sit in, just for like as a branding element that I think will look cool. So if we go to Insert Shape, let's go to Rectangle, and let's just draw like a rough rectangle in here. And I want to put my rectangle behind my logo in my layer panel here. And let's just look at what we've got here. So it's 136 by 67. Let's be a little bit more, let's do some more like even numbers. So maybe like 140 by about 60. And let's just shrink this down a little so it kind of fits in. And I think it's a little wide, so I'm just going to shrink this down a little bit more. Maybe like... Okay, cool. So let's grab both of these elements, and then let's go to our alignment tools up here. You see this is where all your alignment tools live. And let's just center both of these, and then let's just center them vertically as well. So now this is perfectly centered within that. I'm just going to group these two together. Right-click, Group Selection. And then let's just call this Logo. And I want to change the color of this. Let's go with like I use a lot of like teal in this branding, so maybe we could do like a darker sort of tealish green color. Kind of just gotta play around with this and find something that looks good. All right, that looks good. Now we'll grab our logo and then we'll just align it to our actual artboard. So if we select the logo and the artboard, hit Align, it centers it perfectly for us. And I'm just gonna move this flush to the top here. See, it kind of snaps. Actually, it didn't perfectly go to the top. That's the top. It's still a little wide for me. I might do like a 90 and then just make sure I center that again. Okay, cool. I like this little logo tag that I've got going here. Now I think we can make our navigation so we could have a sort of a hamburger menu that you could click and maybe expand to a larger menu, and then we could also have our shopping cart since this is an e-commerce website. So let's go ahead and just quickly make our icons. So in order to make sure that we make these icons in the right spacing and size for people to click on with their finger, you want to make sure that they're at least 44 pixels. You know, there's at least 44 pixels around them. That's sort of like the iOS human interface guidelines. You can look more into that. I'll put a link in my description. But essentially, it's best practices for touch targets and things that you click on. So I like to just make a square that's 44 pixels, just so I roughly know. Spacing around it is clear and things like that. So, and I'm just going to line it up to this logo. Just make sure it's flush on the bottom. So let's just line it up to the edge right here and go over 1, 2, 3, holding shift. So that's 30 pixels from the edge. So that'll be sort of our gutters on the side. And I'll just duplicate this over here, go to the edge, 1, 2, 3, holding shift. So now we know these are pretty much even on each side. They have a 30 pixel gutter. And they're aligned to the square or the rectangle we have for our logo. So let's make a little hamburger menu up here. For those of you that don't know, a hamburger menu is just like 3 lines. It doesn't even have to be 3, it could be 4 lines, I suppose. But it's just a way to condense a menu so that you don't have a bunch of links. It's got really popular in mobile a few years back. But it's just a good way to kind of like put a lot of information into one tab. So I'm just making a line here. And I think I want to make this thickness about 3. So my stroke thickness is 3 here. And I'm just sort of lining it up to the edge of this container. And then I'm going to also click on border settings and go to the ends to be rounded. Since this is kind of a more like friendly, approachable brand, I feel like we could round the edges just to make it a little bit more, I don't know, fun. So let's duplicate this line. Let's see, we're about 16 pixels. Let's do about 15 pixels. Let's just bring this down, holding shift. So we know now that these are each 15 pixels apart. Let's kind of zoom out and see what we got here. Those are a little far apart from each other. I'm gonna bring these closer, maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then let's group these guys. Right click, group selection. And let's just call this ICN menu. And let's just name this touch target. And let's turn our touch target off so we can just see our menu here. That's looking cool. I feel like it's a little wide, so let's just shrink this down. Let's do like 30 wide. It doesn't have to be the actual same size as your touch target, but you want it to live within that as like your kind of guideline or your container. So I think that looks a little bit better when it's not as fat as it was before. So that looks cool. And then, so when we make our next icon, we want to use the same stroke width, which is what we use 3. Just so that things are consistent, there's some continuity within the design, so that people can start to build a relationship with the visual styles of your icons, your iconography. So I'm actually just gonna grab one of these, copy it, and let's go over here to our other touch target. Let's just name that touch target 2. Oops, not 12. And then let's just paste our line. Now I want to make a little shopping cart here. So I'm just going to kind of quickly go through this. You're going to see, I'm going to time lapse this. For the sake of time, I'm going to just kind of quickly go through it. But if you guys have any specific questions on this, you can message me. But essentially I'm just building this with existing shapes. Okay, so I have my cart here. I just made it very quickly. You can go in and actually like refine it. I'd probably like outline all this and clean it up so that it's like one united object. But so let's add an indication of what it looks like when you have something in your cart. So let's go to Insert Shape, Oval. I'm just gonna click Shift and just make a circle here. And I'm gonna use the same color that I had earlier with my logo. 15 by 15 seems to work. Let's just turn our touch target off because we don't need to see it right now. So let's pretend that the user has put 2 items in their cart. So let's go to Insert, Text, just click once and put 2. I'm going to change this color to white. And then I'm just going to make sure that I'm aligned to the center. Yep. And let's just change this font to Graystroke, which is what I used on the actual packaging. And let's actually just make this a outline, convert to outlines. That way we can just make it a vector object. Shrink it down, kind of center it here. And let's just see how that looks. Yeah. So that's actually the same font as the Muir Woods logo. I think it kind of, it's a nice number. So now that we've got this whole area, let's just group it all together. Let's just right click it and go to Group Selection. Let's just call it Header. It'd be wise to actually make this a symbol just in case you want to edit any of this. It'll update it everywhere in your app. So let's just do that, Create Symbol. We'll just call it Header. Cool. So now we've got our header. Let's put our product over here for now. We know this is going to be on the page. And I feel like there's some, good continuity with the brand. We've got this sort of rounded stroke here. We've got this font. We've got these colors going on. So when you look at this, it feels like it kind of works together because we've got the rounded strokes here, and then we've got the same font, and then the same font for the cart. So it all seems in a way like it kind of lives and breathes together as like a unit. So let's make our hero image. I'm going to start by grabbing my rectangle tool and just going to the edges of these guys, holding Shift. Let's find a nice round number here. So maybe 310 would be better. 310 by 310. And see how that sort of lines up with what we've already made. I'm just going to push this behind. And I'm going to kind of make this flush with the logo. Let's come down 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 30 pixels. 30 pixels looks good. Maybe that's a little too much. Let's do 20 pixels. Yeah. And I want this packaging to sort of pop from the background that we put here. So I think if it overlays like that, it kind of has this sort of background texture that we could use to kind of make it pop off the page a little bit more. A little bit non-traditional and something a little bit more dynamic. I think it'll help make this product pop off the page a little bit more. And I'm gonna grab a color that's sort of more into like the pinkish, salmon-ish color, something that's complementary to what I've got on the packaging right now. So this is looking cool. Something like this. I'm just gonna bring this up. I don't think it needs to be a perfect square. Then we'll move this guy up a little bit. Now, I like the idea of this being a flat color, but I also like the idea of adding some sort of texture, just a subtle texture to make this thing look a little bit more, I don't know, interesting. So let's go to Google. Maybe we could do some sort of like wood texture in the background. I'm just gonna find something here on Google. Wood texture. Let's go to images and let's just find something. Let's see, wood. This will work. Copy. But let's just paste it in. It's kind of big. I'm going to shrink it down with Alt and Shift. And I'm going to rotate it to a 45-degree angle. And I'm also going to mask it within my rectangle. So now it's sort of in that. And let's just name this background. And let's just name this wood. Okay, so I have my wood texture masked in, and I think what I'm gonna do is just kind of center it here. I don't know, I kind of like this like geometric style I've been kind of playing around with lately. So if I duplicate this one more time, we can sort of, in a way, lead the eye to the packaging by creating this sort of geometric element that sort of lives in the background here. Let's just kind of push this down. And that's looking kind of cool. I might even grab both of my wood layers and just, let's see what happens if I multiply them. I don't really like multiply. Maybe color? No. Luminosity? No. Overlay. Ooh, I like the overlay look. So this is where you can really just play around with your blending modes and see what looks cool if you want to start adding some textures. And I think this color could be a little bit warmer. Yeah. All right, so we've got some cool stuff going on here, but I think we can add like maybe some coffee beans to really add some sort of dimension and just depth to this. So I'm gonna go to Google and let's just search coffee beans. Oops, coffee beans PNG. That'll allow us to have that transparent background that we want, so that we don't have to worry about photoshopping, the background out. But I do recommend that if you do actually go ahead and like make a design for a client, that you would shoot these yourself. But we're not monetizing this video, so we're just using it for educational purposes. So let's just grab these beans right here. They look cool. We'll just copy this. We'll go back to Sketch and let's just paste in. Now we're gonna shrink these down because they're huge. We got some huge beans here, and kind of drag these down just to size them down a little bit. That looks good. And I'm just gonna kind of place somewhere I think it would look all right. Those look like they're kind of in front of it. Here's a little hack. If I copy this and just paste it, I can put one of these beans behind the packaging slightly. It'll even create more depth. You see that? Nobody's gonna know that these are the same beans. I mean, maybe somebody would, but chances are nobody would really notice. And if anything, you could flip this. Let's see. There. Even better. Cool, so now it looks like these beans are sort of like wrapping around the packaging a little bit, and it creates a little bit more depth and just visual interest here. So let's just make sure that we name these beans. Where's our other beans? They're there. And I'm just gonna put all this into my hero image folder. Gotta keep everything very organized here. Cool. Now, I'm imagining this could be a whole like slider image, so let's show the user some indication of that. So I think we should add some pager dots. So let's go to Insert Shape, Oval, and just Shift Alt click and kind of just make a circle here. I think 12 looks all right. And this is going to be the active oval. So I'm just going to go my darker color here, and then let's just duplicate, and then maybe shift 10, shift 10. So they're 10 pixels apart from each other. And these are going to be the inactive pager dots. And then let's just group these guys. Group selection, we'll call you pager dots. There's probably other words for this, but I call them pager dots. So that just shows whoever is on this page that there is indeed some interaction that is to be had, as in like you could swipe left or right. You could get crazier and add some little arrows here, but I think for this, like people are starting to understand that if you show some sort of indication like this, then they know to swipe, you know. And I don't know the data on that, but I feel like I've been seeing it more and more where you don't necessarily need the arrows nowadays. But again, that's a debate, I'm sure. So let's just go ahead and add a title for this product. Now, since this is like the first one, maybe this is the original. So let's go to insert text. Let's just type the original Muir Woods coffee. I'm pretending like this is a real coffee, but it's not. If somebody wants to make this coffee and send me some, I'd be super stoked on that. I'm just kind of breaking it to 2 lines just so it fits a little bit nicely. Maybe we'll go to semi-bold. Let's see here. You gotta kind of play around and see what breaks nicely. That looks cool. I think about 26 might be good, actually. Not 16, 26. And then again, I just want to make sure this is centered. So if I grab this and my artboard, shift click, align, there, it's perfectly aligned. So now we have to give this a price because this is an e-commerce page. People need to know what it costs to buy this thing. So if we shift alt drag, we'll duplicate this title. And I'm just going to change my text to what, 16 maybe? And let's go to a light color, or sorry, light font weight. And I'm thinking $23 would be good. 23 is my favorite number, so there's no real rhyme or reason why it's $23 other than it's my favorite number. So, and then let's make this our lighter gray color, just so that there's a little bit of a hierarchy here. You know, you want people to read this first. Price is a little bit secondary. Actually, might make this about 18. Yeah. So that's looking cool. Now I want to add a like sort of call to action button. So what we want people to do, we want them to buy this. So let's go ahead and insert a rectangle. And I'm just going to copy the same width as what my hero image container is for now. So 310. Let's just bring this down. I'm going to go with my darker color. And let's just make sure this button's a nice size. So 310 by, let's say 60. That'll be good. And I'm just going to grab my 23, copy it, paste it, and use this as my text. Let's make this white so it stands out from the button. And we want people to buy, so maybe buy now. I don't know, I always thought buy now was a little pushy, right? Maybe we could just say like, add to cart. Let's do add to cart. And I'm just going to shrink this down a little bit. Maybe 15. There, because people can add it to their cart and then they can decide if they want to buy it. Let's not be the pushy salesman. And then let's group this button. Group selection. We'll call it BTN. You'll notice that like with my icons and buttons, I'll just like abbreviate like BTN or ICN. That's just what I do. I don't think that's like a global thing that all designers do, but that's just what I do because it keeps it short. I don't have to type as much. So BTN add to cart. And let's give this a little drop shadow so it kind of like feels like it's like hovering off the page a little bit, like it's got a nice little depth to it. So if we go to add new shadow right here, you'll see that it added that shadow right there. We want it to be a soft shadow though, so maybe like a 30, and let's try like about a 10 on the y-axis. And then I'm just gonna play around with this color here, maybe 40. And you could spend a lot of time on these drop shadows and make them all sexy, but I think that's nice enough for now. Just kind of a soft little indication that there's a button there. So it really is just a way to sort of embellish on your design and make it pop a little bit more. I hate when people say make it pop. Why did I say that? Now that I look at these dots, they're a little close together. And they're honestly a little big. So I'm going to go to 10. And this is just kind of me taking a step back, looking at the entire design, and deciding that I think these are a little too big. There, that fits a little bit better. So that's our basic page that we sort of laid out here. And you can spend time just kind of playing around with the spacing on all these elements and kind of maybe resizing things to make it work better. But I'm pretty happy with how this is turning out so far. All right, for the sake of time, guys, I just went ahead and designed some other elements and pages. So I've got a home page here, just sort of like a nice welcoming screen where you can, get like a nice little message. So adventure in a cup is what I came up with, just some kind of placeholder text. But I've also got the same sort of little like badge element that I have on the packaging from here. I think it's nice to sort of tie those things together. Maybe this would actually slowly spin on the site. That'd be kind of cool. Can't do that in Sketch though, unfortunately. And then I have a different color call to action just for stuff that's not purchase related. Maybe just green would be things that you could just kind of click more into the page and get down to the deeper levels of the site where you can learn more about the actual company. And then perhaps you scroll down to where you have your main products here. So got that page. I also have a navigation page where perhaps if you click this menu, the menu could turn into an X. There could be some sort of delightful interaction that happens there where it morphs into the X, and then this navigation pops up, kind of takes over the whole page. You got some social media icons down there. And then I also have just a shopping cart drawer. So maybe if you click on add to cart, this thing could slide down and it gets added to your cart. Or if you actually just click on your cart, this thing could open. So I'm going to show you guys how to link these all together and make a nice little seamless prototype. So let's go ahead and start with our hamburger menu. So all you have to do with this prototyping feature is to literally just select your element. If you go to the right side of the screen here, you see where it says prototyping. This is new. So you want to add the plus button and you want to click target. You're going to go to, oh, you know what? Here's a big thing that I didn't do. I didn't name my artboards. They're all just like iPhone X copy. That's a big no-no. So let's just name these. Let's say shopping cart drawer. And these can be whatever you want, but I'm just going to kind of name them very quickly. And let's just close all these so we don't have all these open right now. Okay, so this one could just be product page. Some people say like PDP, product detail page. We'll just call it product page. This is our menu. And then this will be our homepage. Homepage. Why can't I spell today? Okay. So now what we'll do is we'll go back to our hamburger menu. Click it. Oops. Yeah, we'll click our hamburger menu. Go over here to prototyping. And for our target, we're gonna select menu. So see how it made this little line that kind of gets drawn over to the menu screen? That just is basically telling you this element is going to interact with this page. Like that's where you're directing it to go to. So if I go to preview, select your artboard and go to preview. Now, if I see how the cursor changes because there's some sort of interaction here. If I click on that, boom, it just pops up. Now I don't have an interaction set on my X yet, so I need to add that. So let's close this because we want to be able to go back and close. So let's grab our little X icon. I need to rename that. Why is it hamburger? Icon close. Let's go back to prototyping. Click this. And I believe you can actually just like move around as well. So you don't have to just like go through this drop down. You can just click on where you want the interaction to go. So I can come over here, I go over here, but we just want it to go back to this entire artboard page. There, so now it's set. If I preview again, click the hamburger menu, that works. So I'm gonna grab my shopping cart icon, click prototyping, and let's just link to this page. So we've got this, that works. Let's click our shopping cart. Look at that. Now we've got to add an interaction to this arrow as well. So let's click our little arrow guy here. Add a interaction. And let's just have it take you back to this page. So one more time, we'll preview. We've got our menu, got our cart. Cool. I might actually not have that wipe happening on there. I might just make it a straight interaction like that. Let's see how that looks. Cool. So ideally this would like slide down. This is what I was saying, like with Sketch right now, you can't just have this slide independently from the background. I don't think. I could be wrong. If somebody knows a way, please let me know. Maybe I haven't tinkered with this enough, but to my knowledge, it's just kind of artboards that you can animate, not independent elements. So what's cool about this, I've added these prototyping rules to these items right here, these elements. If I make this header a symbol, just call it header, we'll copy it. This one's not a symbol, so we'll just delete it. Bye-bye. And we paste. It'll maintain those same interactions that you applied earlier. So let's just go ahead and preview. Yeah, see? That's the beauty of symbols. Oh, and let's make our button at the top here, or our logo at the top, just always link back to the home page. There, so let's preview. So now we're on the product page. Now we're back to the home page. One other cool thing is that this little flag right here allows you to make your start point. So we're going to click this as like our start point always, just because this is our home page. So whenever I click preview, it'll always designate this screen as our home page. Something that I actually just realized I didn't do is like on this close button, instead of going back to just a particular page, you should just go back to your previous artboard. That way when you go back, you're actually going back to the page you were just on. So yeah, now you have a working prototype that is clean, has some animation transitions. You could upload this to the cloud with your phone and preview it on your device, actually have people touch and interact with this and really see how it'll live in the real world. So that's how I would go about my process of designing and prototyping in Sketch. Hopefully you guys learned something here, and you know, if somebody that you know is maybe struggling with app design or UI design or prototyping, maybe share this video with them. And if you like these videos, subscribe. You can even click on the little notification bell down there, and whenever I upload a new video, you'll get a notification from that. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time, guys.